Hi everyone, I'm Dina with Mills Family Gardening. Today is December 29th and we're going to start growing ginger. And in this video, we'll grow ginger from start to finish, hopefully. We actually made a video this year about growing ginger, but we were a little bit disappointed with our harvest and we decided to try again this year. We also felt like our ginger didn't have enough growing time this year. For that reason, we want to start earlier. So at the end of December, we're going to plant our ginger. I prepared 9 containers and they all are filled up with the same potting mix. And I'm just going to get this ginger, and we got organic ginger at a store. I did not pre-soak it. It's been on a countertop this whole time for about a few days, so it has gotten a little bit dry, but I can see there are still some signs of life. You can see this little new plant is trying to grow. Here's another one. It looks like it's light colored, it's fresh, and it's trying to grow. So I'm going to remove one piece from this whole rhizome, and I'll just plant it here in one container, and that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of the containers. So now I'm going to cover all of the rhizomes with some moist soil, and the soil in the containers from the beginning was moist, so I didn't have to water it in advance. And after I cover them all, I'll water them, make sure they all stay moist. And I'm going to keep these containers under a grow light in our house because it will get cold here. The temperature will go down into the 20s Fahrenheit, and we'll keep them there until they all sprout. Today is February 16th and our ginger have come up. All of the plants in every container have come up. They're right here. So on this side of the container, we have ginger. And let me get one of them out of the container. I'm just curious to see what it looks like underneath the soil. It's going to be a little messy. You can see that there's the ginger rhizome. A little plant is growing from it. And there's also some roots. They're still small, but I'm gonna keep them in the container and they will keep growing, and we'll plant them outside once it warms up and no danger of frost is there. Today is March 30th and you can see that our ginger is growing very tall. It's very healthy. I fertilized it with fish emulsion and also more bloom a couple of times and it responded very well to it. The leaves have greened up, but you can see that it's very tall and it can't wait to be planted into a larger container. But today I took it outside because it's time to harden off our plants, and I placed ginger in the spot that gets dappled sun throughout the day, probably about a couple of hours of morning sun. So it will stay here for a week or a couple of weeks. Probably by the end of April I will plant ginger in their final containers. Today is May 4th. It's warmed up a lot and we're going to transplant our ginger into its final container where it will stay until the beginning of November. Our ginger looks great. We've gotten a lot of rain in the last couple of weeks, and actually ginger has been sitting in water and I thought it would suffer from it, but it's actually growing really well and it's growing a lot of new shoots. You can see all these are new and all this is new, and you can see that they are also growing new rhizomes, which is a good sign. So today we're going to plant our ginger in this container. This container has drainage holes on the bottom. I'm using outdoor organic potting mix in this container. It's actually infested with fire ants, but I'm hoping that as I keep watering this container, they'll get the message. This is not a friendly environment and they will leave and go somewhere else. But I'm going to add some fertilizer. This is organic all-purpose fertilizer to this container. And I'll add about a couple of handfuls here. And I'm also going to add some bone meal in hopes that the rhizomes will grow larger. I'll do a couple of handfuls also, and then I'll mix it all with the soil, making sure that the fire ants don't bite me. The soil is pretty moist, so I'm not watering it right now, but I will water after I plant everything. We have 9 ginger plants here, so I'm going to plant 7 plants in this container and then 2 plants in this container. So we're going to get this ginger out. In spite of growing in these small containers, you can see that it's actually happy and it's doing really well and keeps growing new shoots. And the roots look good, so I'm just going to place it on the bottom of this container, not very deep, and I'll fill up more soil on top. And I'm going to plant all of them this way. Today is October 26th and we're going to harvest our ginger today. This week the temperature is supposed to go down to the low 40s Fahrenheit, and that's not good for the rhizomes. Especially in such a shallow and thin box, the rhizomes might get damaged, they can get mushy. So I'm not going to take any chances, and I'm not going to bring it inside because we don't have sufficient lighting for it inside. So I'm going to dump this ginger into this lid and see what we have. I also wanted to point out that some of the leaves do look dry. It looks like they might be dead, and that's normal. So what might have happened is the first round of ginger that got formed, when the leaves got mature, they started dying off, and that's normal process for ginger. But then because we have such a long growing season, this rhizome started growing new rhizomes, and that's where the new shoots of green plants started growing. So that's normal. And also, we planted our ginger back in December, and it's been 10 months since we planted our ginger, and 10 months, 8 or 10 months is perfect for harvesting ginger. These look like they're very new rhizomes that started forming just recently. That's why they're so small. Look at this rhizome. It's nice and big, and you can notice that it was more in the center of the container. Most likely that's where all the rhizomes were planted, or the majority of them were planted, and that's why they had more time to form larger rhizomes. I'm going to use water to remove the rest of the dirt. So we washed off our ginger, and I'm certainly happy with our harvest this year. In my opinion, this year the rhizomes and the clumps of rhizomes look much larger than what we harvested last year. And I think the main difference is that we kept the box mostly in the sun. It was getting some shade in late or mid-afternoon, so it was getting much more sun this year. And the other factor is that we started our rhizomes pretty early, last December, so it's been 10 months. Rhizomes had more time to grow. So what I'm gonna do with all these ginger rhizomes now is I need to separate them from plants, and I can store them either in a refrigerator. They will store for a week or two in the refrigerator, or I can freeze them. That way they can store in the freezer much longer, for several months. And if I need to use frozen ginger, then I can simply get little pieces out of the freezer, as many as I need, and shred on a grater. Also, I can reuse the rhizomes to grow new ginger. You can see this rhizome is trying to grow new plants from these nodes here. And there are a lot of nodes here that are trying to grow new plants like this one and that one. So I can certainly reuse this one to grow new ginger next year. In fact, we're in late October now, so if I keep this ginger healthy and alive till mid-December, I can start new ginger from these rhizomes. I'm very happy with our experiment this year. I will be growing ginger in the future because it's simply so easy to grow, and ginger is so beneficial to our health. I think I also like growing ginger in a shallow box. To me, it seemed like it had more space to grow larger rhizomes, and it really benefited. I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.